20 strongest
heroes
characters.
and dangerous villains to just straight up monsters and beasts. These are 20 of the strongest characters in My Hero Academia. Number 20, Tokoyami Fumikage. Tokoyami is one of the few students in Class 1A who has exhibited great strength from the beginning and has only improved over time. By far, his biggest strength lies in his quirk, Dark Shadow. This quirk allows him to manifest
Such a cool quirk, though.
shadow monster from his body that he can control. When Dark Shadow is summoned in dark conditions, its power grows exponentially to the point where he himself can't control it. At this time, the Shadow is powerful enough to defeat some of the strongest villains instantly. Additionally, he also uses the technique to envelop his body with shadow and channel the power into his fists, allowing him to deal even more damage.
I love
With
that.
these outstanding skills, Tokoyami surely
I absolutely love that quirk. There's something about it, you know? There's something about it.
deserves his spot on the list. Okay, let's switch it up a bit and cover a villain next, and a very bad one at that. Kai Chisaki. Overhaul is a very dangerous villain, the main antagonist of the Shie Hasakai arc. His quirk lets him disassemble and reassemble anything he touches, including people. This means that the ability can be used to either hurt people by taking them apart or heal people by putting them back together. We saw just how strong Overhaul is in his fight against Deku, where the young hero had no chance of defeating him. It was only when Deku used
I mean, hey, it's a very strong quirk, okay? Like, it's super strong.
Full Cal at 100% with Ares' help that the villain was finally brought down. The fact that he managed to battle against this form of Deku, along with his experience and powers, should easily put him above Tokoyami. Number 18, Miriko. Miriko
Come on,
has
at
the
least I like a
abilities of
C.
rabbit, giving her incredible length strength with which she can jump around quickly and kick opponents with extreme force. In fact, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that she's one of the strongest heroes in terms of physical strength. Man, just imagine the force she could hit the subscribe button with. She would absolutely destroy it. And you should too. Okay, don't really destroy it. A gentle click with your mouse should be enough. Thanks. Anyway, Miriko proved her might during the Paranormal Liberation War, where she effortlessly took down various Nomu and even assisted in the final battle against Shigaraki despite her injuries. Given Miriko's superior standing among professional heroes and her impressive performance throughout the series, I believe she deserves a higher position on the list than Tokoyami and Overhaul. Alright, I noticed in analytics that over 50% of people watching
How is he putting them all in, like, D tier? That's crazy. There might be like more powerful characters, but I feel like they're already quite strong. I don't think they deserve a D, right? Like a C maybe? Like putting people together and taking them apart? That's kind of broken, no?
Number 17, Best Jeanist. Best Jeanist is an excellent example of why sheer raw strength isn't the only thing that makes
I freaking love the Jean's character.
to a pro hero. He's currently a number 3 professional hero, and his unique quirk, Fiber Master, allows him to manipulate fibers of clothes as he wills. At first, this quirk may not
It's like such an interesting quirk. Like manipulate clothes and the fibers. So basically, if you're wearing clothes, he can get to you. And just like, so you have to fight him naked or something. Right? That's what the guy's saying. That's crazy.
Number 17, Best Jeanist. Best Jeanist is an excellent example of why sheer raw strength isn't the only thing that makes you a pro hero. He's currently a number 3 professional hero, and his unique quirk, Fiber Master, allows him to manipulate fibers of clothes as he wills. At first, this quirk may not seem that impressive, but due to all the training he's done over the years, it allows him to manipulate fibers in ways you wouldn't even think of. Usually, Best Jeanist uses his quirk to form safety nets to protect people from harm or to bind his foes.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Binding people, making safety nets. What else could be useful for that? Just like stopping objects, right? And stuff like that.
But due to all the training he's done over the years, it allows him to manipulate fibers in ways you wouldn't even think of. Usually, Best Jeanist uses his quirk to form safety nets to protect people from harm or to bind his foes. However, if he wants to be more aggressive, he can also wrap the threads around his opponent's neck and attempt to suffocate them. His most impressive feat is restraining Gigantomachia, a being with immeasurable strength that's virtually impossible to subdue. Everything Best Jeanist has shown so far in the manga is enough to earn him the 17th spot on the list. Number 16.
Stuart Dido.
Hawks, the number 2 pro hero, shows us that intelligence can sometimes be far more useful than raw strength. He has big feathery wings that let him fly, but can also be used offensively. For example, Hawks can telekinetically control his feathers, making them sharp and hard, increasing their speed considerably. The most amazing thing about
that really reminds me of a League of Legends character. That girl, whatever, the one that controls feathers. They're like basically the same almost.
Wings that let him fly, but can also be used offensively. For example, hawks can telekinetically control his feathers, making them sharp and hard, increasing their speed considerably. The most amazing thing about his feathers is that he can use them to carry things, which helped him evacuate a bunch of citizens.
Wait, that's super helpful. Like, if you need to save a bunch of people, that's a nice hero power.
The most amazing thing about his feathers is that he can use them to carry things, which helped him evacuate a bunch of citizens from the collapsing skyscraper. With his remarkable speed, strong feathers, and keen intelligence, Hawks can beat even some of the strongest villains in the series. Although he doesn't have the raw power of heroes like Miriko, Hawk's abilities are far more versatile and can be used in pretty much any situation. Considering this and the fact that he's the youngest pro hero to ever reach a rank this high, he should be able to defeat Miriko and Best Jeanist in battle. Number 15.
Okay, interesting.
Nagant. The former pro hero in
I don't know, I feel like this guy's ranking is a bit like... I don't know.
And Best Jeanist in battle. Number 15. Lady Nagant. The former pro hero in Hawk Sr., Lady Nagant is a powerful combatant that joined the dark side due to the horrible mission she was tasked to do. Lady Nagant's rifle quirk lets her extend a rifle from her elbow and create a scope and different types of bullets. Her second quirk helps her with mobility, allowing her to float in midair, which further helps her in fights. She's considered to be the best long-range fighter in the country. Even
Bro, she can fly around and just snipe people. But also
tasked to do. Lady Nagant's rifle quirk lets her extend a rifle from her elbow and create a scope and different types of bullets. Her second quirk helps her with mobility, allowing her to float in midair, which further helps her in fights. She's considered to be the best long-range fighter in the country. Even Snipe, a strong pro hero with a quirk that improves his ranged attacks, admits that he can't hope to compete with her, as she far outclasses his quirk.
Bro, imagine being called Snipe. And you're a sniper, and you're not even the best at it. That feels bad.
Range fighter in the country. Even Snipe, a strong pro hero with a quirk that improves his ranged attacks, admits that he can't hope to compete with her, as she far outclasses his quirk with raw skill alone. Wow. Imagine being called Snipe and still having no shot.
That's literally what I just said, dude.
Admits that he can't hope to compete with her, as she far
outclasses
his quirk with raw skill alone. Wow. Imagine being called Snipe and still having no shot against her. Yeah, okay. I'll stop with the jokes. Now, although the fight between Lady Nagant and Hawks would surely be really interesting due to her years of experience, I think she'd emerge victorious. Number 14.
Also, I feel like Hawks could be kind of difficult to hit, right? He can probably create like barriers with his feathers, fly around really quick. Might be hard to hit with a sniper.
Yeah, okay. I'll stop with the jokes. Now, although the fight between Lady Nagant and Hawks would surely be really interesting due to her years of experience, I think she'd emerge victorious. Number 14. High-end Nomu. Nomus are artificially made humans that are heavily modified using the bodies of deceased people. The higher-end Nomus, like Hood, have an unimaginable amount of strength and wield multiple quirks. The high-end Nomu can easily overpower some of the strongest pro heroes, like Best Jeanist, and even Endeavor faced a tough time defeating it, as the Nomu was far more robust than anything he'd ever encountered. From super regeneration to enormous physical power, these beings are literally made for combat, and I don't think any of the previous characters on this list had any chance of defeating one. Number 13. Dobby. Dobby, the oldest child of Endeavor, is one of the major antagonists throughout the series.
He looks so badass though. Right? Like the stitched up like skin. I freaking love that. I don't know, kind of edgy, but I like that.
Characters on this list had any chance of defeating one.
I like
Number
that
13. Dobby. Dobby, the oldest child of Endeavor, is one of the major antagonists throughout the series. He's proficient in using his scorching blue flames, which can burn anything to a crisp. The interesting thing about Dobby is that he doesn't have a high resistance to heat. Instead, he trained his body to be completely insensitive to pain in order to use his quirk freely. Dobby's done some really impressive things throughout the series, like fighting on par with Kitten, repelling Bakugo's escort squad, and even completely overpowering Hawks, Japan's #2 hero. Additionally, Dobby learned Flashfire Fist from his father, the strongest flame type technique. This ability allows the user to raise the temperature of his flames to the highest levels, and with Dobby's quirk, the attack deals even more devastating damage than ever.
That makes sense, right? Because blue flame is the most, the hottest flame, right? It's a cool quirk. I really like that quirk. Alongside with the badass look that he has, Hey.
The strongest flame type technique. This ability allows the user to raise the temperature of his flames to the highest levels, and with Dobby's quirk, the attack deals even more devastating damage than ever before. Although Dobby is incredibly strong, he's actually the weakest member of his family on this list. So let's continue with his brother, Shoto. Shoto showcases his strength as he enters UA High and becomes one of the strongest students in Class 1A. Although Shoto has one quirk, it's split into two parts, giving him two different abilities, Ice and Fire. Shoto initially used only his Ice side due to hatred towards his father, but eventually started using his Fire side as well, which significantly increased his power. Later in the show, he developed a technique called Phosphors, which
I love the character designs in My Hero Academia. Like, honestly. Ice and Fire seems so simple, but so cool. And also, like, the split. I like that.
Only his Ice side due to hatred towards his father, but eventually started using his Fire side as well, which significantly increased his power. Later in the show, he developed a technique called Phosphors, which lets him merge fire and ice together and perform much stronger attacks than before. This ability even allowed him to overpower Dobby's blue flames and eventually win their recent fight. Based on this, Shoto deserves to be placed higher than Dobby and other characters on this list. Next up is another major antagonist, Redestro, the Grand Commander of the Meta Liberation Army. We got a taste of his strength in his fight against the League of Villains, where he effortlessly defeats twice by activating his quirk with just one finger. However, Redestro's fight against Shigaraki was an actual depiction of his true strength. His stress quirk allows the villain to store any negative emotion and convert it into raw strength, significantly increasing his size. In his stress state, Redestro—
Wait, is it even fear? Does that work? It's negative emotion, I guess, right? So can't he just like snowball? Technically, your opponent fears you, and then you get bigger, and then he fears you more because you're getting bigger.
Actual depiction of his true strength. His stress quirk allows the villain to store any negative emotion and convert it into raw strength, significantly increasing his size. In his stress state, Redestro's power is unmatched, and one swing of his arm can generate a massive shockwave. Moreover, with his Claustro suit, Redestro's stress further increases to 150%, increasing his strength to a frightening level. The guy undoubtedly deserves a high spot on the list, as he even gave Shigaraki a tough time.
Not bad.
We're only halfway done with the list, and the characters are already this powerful. Can you imagine that there's still 10 more characters stronger than these? Well, there are, and one of them is USJ Nomu. Undeniably, the USJ Nomu is one of the strongest artificial humans seen in the series. It managed to single-handedly defeat a pro hero like Eraserhead with absolute ease. Moreover, it was made to counter All Might and possesses the power and speed that rivals his. It even managed to gravely injure him during the battle, showcasing that its abilities were no joke. Additionally, it possesses two quirks, Super Regeneration and Shock Absorption, making it a humanoid punching bag.
It's like
that
a tank.
Literally no damage. While Redestro's quirk can make him really
tank.
powerful, he'd find it very hard to surpass USJ Nomu in speed and physical strength. Therefore, it deserves 10th place on the list. Number 9. Bakugo. Since the beginning, Bakugo had a strong grasp on his quirk, often using it for full-on offense during battles. His explosion quirk makes him sweat nitroglycerin from his palms, which he uses to create, well, explosions. Due to his overall strength and proficiency with the quirk, even the League of Villains wanted him to join their organization. By the time of the Paranormal Liberation arc, Bakugo became really versatile in using the quirk, propelling himself in the air to dodge attacks while also attacking his opponent simultaneously. What's truly surprising is that during the final war, Bakugo's strength had increased to the point that even Shigaraki was feeling nervous. His ultimate technique, Cluster, increased his power even further, helping him deal damage to Shigaraki and making him panic. If Bakugo can make Shigaraki panic, then the USJ Nomu shouldn't be a problem for him. Okay, make way for the next character, and I mean really make way, since the next character is the 100-foot-tall bodyguard of All for One, Giganto Makia. During the Paranormal Liberation War, Makia perfectly exhibited his powers, showcasing how countless pro heroes were no match for him. He has everything needed to be the perfect bodyguard, from quirks that provide him high endurance and heightened senses to powers that make him immune to all pain. And if that's not enough, he can also increase his size, strengthen his muscles, and grow claws from his hands. The guy even easily picked up Mount Lady and threw her like it was nothing. Bakugo's quirk undoubtedly offers him great destructive power, but it simply wouldn't be enough to bring down this beast. Even Endeavor struggled to defeat him, and multiple pro heroes were required to hold him down. Makia, without a doubt, can overpower all characters on the list so far. Number 7. Endeavor. Endeavor,
I guess the list
Flame
kinda
Hero,
right.
is the current #1 pro hero with the highest number of resolved crime cases. Although he might not be at the level of All Might, Endeavor should not be underestimated at any cost. His Hellflame quirk allows him to produce and
he's
manipulate
the dad,
large
I
amounts of
guess.
extremely intense
So he should be
fire at
higher.
will. Additionally, due to all the experience he's acquired over the years, he's incredibly proficient in handling this quirk, using it to defeat some of the absolutely strongest villains in the series. This was best shown when he used his most powerful attack, Prominence Burn, to finally put an end to high-end Nomu. Although Endeavor wouldn't have been able to defeat Gigantomachia without the help of other heroes, it's important to mention that it was due to the unique circumstances he faced from realizing Dobby's true identity. Therefore, if he was in his full power, I think he would have been able to defeat the beast. Number 6. 9. 9 is the primary antagonist of the My Hero Academia movie Heroes Rising, and he's a frighteningly powerful opponent.
He looks crazy.
Even his quirk is incredibly strong, granting him control over the weather.
It looks a little bit like a cyberpunk, like infused
allowing
character.
him to cause powerful thunderstorms and tornadoes. It was so powerful, in fact, that 9 stated that the quirk was destroying his body. Later
Damn.
on, 9 obtained a weaker version of All for One and gathered 5 additional quirks to aid him in battle. He demonstrated the extent of his powers during the movie multiple times, and at the end, it took
Dang.
2 One for All users to finally bring him down. I mean, standing your own against Deku at 100% is already a great achievement, but imagine battling
True.
another guy who also uses the quirk at 100%. Man, 9 definitely earned his place on this list. Only 5 more characters are left.
5
and the
more to
next
go.
one is America's #1 hero, Star and Stripes. Star and Stripes is possibly the strongest female pro hero in the series, with
Like
even
that.
All for One recognizing her as the strongest woman around. With her quirk, New Order, she can set a rule on anything she touches by calling its name, allowing her to manipulate and bestow new properties onto herself and the world around her. Okay, I know this is a bit confusing, but she can literally just touch herself and say something like, "I will be 5 times faster," and that'll
It's
literally
crazy.
happen. Yeah, it sounds way overpowered, but there are limits to it. For example, it's stated that even when using her quirk at its full power, she's still nowhere close to All Might's level of strength. Nevertheless, this quirk should be more than
Interesting.
enough to bring down all the previous
Can't she just
characters
be
on
like-
this list without
I
any
know, I guess
trouble.
there's limits, but like, what's the limits? If her quirk is to say, "I am the strongest."
Number 4. All for One. The once most powerful villain in the series and the symbol of evil, All for One is the League of Villains founder and is a natural nemesis of anyone who wields the One for All quirk. What makes All for One powerful is his quirk, which allows him to steal the
Yeah.
quirks of others.
Yeah.
He can then either keep the stolen
Yeah.
quirk for himself or pass
It's
it on
kinda-
to someone else.
it's kinda
He's been
broken.
alive for a very long time, and throughout
Yeah.
the years he's stolen hundreds of incredibly
Yeah.
strong quirks, making himself pretty
just
much
yoinking.
invincible. All for One
Bro,
was
just stealing.
unshakable in his prime and effortlessly defeated many pro heroes that were in his way, including many of the previous One for All users.
Oh,
Although
rip.
we don't know all the exact quirks this guy has, I think it's safe to say that he's
Bro's got
prepared
10
for pretty
arms.
much any situation. Based on this, if he ever battled Star and Stripes, he would certainly be ready to counter her quirk in some way and defeat the hero.
I feel
Number
like,
3,
yeah.
All Might. The symbol of peace, All Might is regarded as the strongest
The
pro
Almighty.
hero ever, with unmatched
Might.
levels of strength. He single-handedly brought stability to Japan, and many villains were scared and discouraged by his appearance. However, what really shows his strength is that he was able to defeat All for One, his arch nemesis, who was known as the most powerful villain in the world. This is obviously no small feat, as none of the previous One for All users could defeat this guy. Not even close. Also, another important thing to mention is that even at the very beginning of the show,
I don't even think Deku is gonna be #1. I don't know. Maybe.
All Might was already past his prime due to age and injuries. Just imagine how strong he was when he was younger. It's literally inconceivable. I don't think there's any additional explanation needed. All Might
Probably All Might in his prime. It was one of the strongest, if not the strongest, right? Like in his prime.
would easily crush anyone on the list so far, and deserves the 3rd spot. Before we cover the absolutely strongest character on the list,
Uh-oh.
let's first cover
Maybe
the
it is
second
Deku.
strongest, Tomura Shigaraki. As the League of Villains leader, Shigaraki has always been exceptionally
Shigaraki.
strong due to his decay quirk that disintegrates everything he touches with his hand.
Yeah, bro,
During
decayed
his
his
battle with Rudestro,
family, dude.
his powers reached a terrifying state when he had a reawakening, allowing him to deteriorate anything using only one finger. To further add to the dread,
It's
Shigaraki's
so
body
sad, man. Like, imagine deteriorating your family. That must be horrible. That's probably why he joined the league.
exceptionally strong due to his decay quirk that disintegrates everything he touches with his hand. During his battle with Rudestro, his powers reached a terrifying state when he had a reawakening, allowing him to deteriorate anything using only one finger. To further add to the dread, Shigaraki's body was modified by Dr. Garaki, which significantly increased his physical abilities and made his decay quirk even more powerful. Like that wasn't enough, he also inherited One for All and several other quirks that came with it. At this point, Shigaraki can defeat any pro hero that comes his way, no matter how powerful they are. He proved this by defeating America's #1 hero, Star and Stripes, relatively quickly, despite a ridiculously powerful quirk. Based on his performance during the Paranormal Liberation War, it was obvious that Shigaraki surpassed his former master, All for One.
Damn.
And with that, I think he deserves the title of second strongest character in the entire
Number 1,
series.
Deku.
Number 1, Deku. Deku is the ninth One for All user, inheriting the quirk from his idol and mentor, All Might. In the beginning, Deku
I guess I was wrong.
this new power and would get severely injured each time he tried. However, with time, training, and hard
Thing
work,
is, Deku can still get stronger. Like, even more stronger than he already is.
he got a much better grip on his powers and was eventually able to use them at their maximum. With One for All at 100%, Deku reaches the level of All Might and can fight toe-to-toe with pretty much any villain in the series. What separates him from his mentor is the ability to use all the quirks of the previous One for All holders. This means that Deku can now use 7 quirks in total, which makes him undoubtedly the strongest One for All user ever. What supports this is that in the manga, Yoichi stated that Deku's power is now at 120%, surpassing the 100% limit that was believed to be impossible. All the powers Deku obtained from the previous users, combined with his unwavering resolve, made him the only person in the world capable of taking on Shigaraki and saving everyone.